Welcome back. So this lesson I just want to try and create a user on Firebase inside our authentication module right here. I just want to try and create a simple user just by adding and working with Angular Firebase and see if it works. So to kind of create a user, we have to first define provider types or a user sign-in methods, right? So you have sign-in methods up here, just click the link, and then I can go in here and I can say I want to enable the email password sign up. That's the one we're going to use this lesson. But the example actually uses the Google setup, so you can also enable that now that you're in here anyway, and then you have them both set up right here and you can start using them. Good. So now that is set up, I can actually go and I can create a user like this, and I can just type in his email, right, and his password, and I can add the user. But I want to do it from Firebase. So let's not add it like this. Let's try and do it from Firebase. How do we do that? Well, it's actually pretty simple. So let's try and jump into Firebase right here. The getting started guide for authentication. You'll notice that here it actually uses the login with the Google Auth provider. And if you want to go even further, then you can actually see all available methods right here. Now I know what to do, so we're just going to try and jump into the code just to see if this actually works. So I'm jumping into my code right here. I'm jumping into the login component TS file. And here step one is I want to kind of just add a simple authentication setup right here. So I'll make a private variable and I'll call it fire auth like this. And then I will make it of the type Angularfire2. There it is, right? So again, this is dependency injection. So this pretty much means that I can now automatically create an access point to the Angularfire2 module or the setup so that I can start sending information to the backend about what I want to do if I want to create users and stuff like that. So now that this is available, let's just try again a hard-coded value right here and say fire auth. Of course you need the this keyword, Lars, you know that. You're better than that. Come on, wake up, wake up. You need the this keyword. So when I have fire auth, I can actually say I want to use the auth function or the auth property right here to actually go in and say I want to create a user and retrieve the data after it's created, right? Or I can actually create a user and not retrieve the data after it's created. So let me just try and show you this one. It's pretty large. Create user and retrieve data with email and password, right? So here we can create a user in these two parameters. The two parameters is, the first one is an email, just a string, and let's just write ljb@ljb.dk. And the second one is actually a password. And let's just put in a password of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you have to remember, they do, you have to put in a password longer than at least 6 or more characters to make this work, or else you'll get an error. So now we are going to use the observable pattern. So we can actually go in, the promise here. We can actually go in and say then, meaning that when we actually create this user, then what do we want to do? For now, we're just going to return the user, right? And with that user, we're actually just going to console log the information we got back like this. And then we're just going to console log the user. Now this is what we call a promise right here. So this is a way for us to kind of say, when this is executed, when you've created the user, actually go then and return the user to me, and then I'll just console log the user. And since I just saved this, it's actually already there. So let's try and jump into the code right here and see if there's a console log showing this. There we go. It actually showed that this has been created. And we're getting some information back, which is actually the user. There's a lot of information here, but let's just scroll down and you can see I have an email right here. So let's just try and jump back to the app, refresh the page, and you'll see hopefully a new user has been created right here. And there we go. And this is actually the user ID, PSHW something, something, something. Let's just have a look if that's somewhere in here, because I need that ID for the next lesson. So it should be in here somewhere. There it is, user ID, PSH, blah, 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 blah. We're going to use that for the next lesson to kind of create more information for the user. But before we do this, let's just take a small break. Let's just enjoy the birds, look outside, have a breather, because we're going to make a few architectural changes in here, add a service, add a user, stuff like that, because we want to make sure that we have structured code. So see you next time, but this is how simple it is to actually create a new user on Firebase. Bye-bye.